Good morning, traders. I'm Dennis Dick.
And I'm Joel L. Connon. Welcome to Pre-Market Info.
Got a little bit of a sell-off here, Joel, and you were talking to me before the show started, citing a potential triple top in the E-mini here up in the 1510 area.
Yeah, that was a high on Friday, bumped up against that level. Yesterday has got up a little bit higher than that. And during the pre-market, with all this incredible earnings out, we got up to 15.10 and a quarter. And now we are having a slow leak here. Actually was weak in the last 5 minutes of the close, right before the 4 o'clock close, and kind of drifted in the aftermarket. But really, there's no major support back to that old 14.90 and a quarter area, which was Monday's low. Still 10 points away from here, though.
Channelingfutures.com. We got this defined channel down in the 1491 area is where we've been finding support, and obviously up at that 1510, 1511 area you're citing is where we're finding resistance. Trading in the middle of it here now, so I guess you continue with that trade until it doesn't work, and has been working for the last week. Looking at earnings specific news here, we've got Disney reported last night, stock trading up significantly here this morning, had traded into the 56 area a couple of times, now trading at 55.87. They reported 79 cents against 76 cents, 11.34 billion versus 11.21 billion on revenue, so beat on the top and the bottom. Nice lift there in the pre-market.
Yeah, the initial surge took it up to 56.90, almost $57.
Oh,
But that was
ridiculous.
very little volume. Now we're coming back and seem to be consolidating around the $56 range. Here's another stock that trades a ton of volume during the day. You got it up on less than 200,000 shares. Keep an eye on that. It doesn't look like it's going to get back up to that 56.90 area.
I think it probably opens in the 56 area. We were trading here after hours for about 2-3 hours just under 56, and then obviously this morning we've kind of settled around just under 56 as well. So it looks like it's kind of settling in here around 55.85, 55.90, where it's traded pretty much for the last hour. Also reporting earnings last night, CMG, Chipotle Mexican Grill. They actually missed. But the stock, so they missed $1.95 versus $2.09. Stock initially spikes, though. It's just funny how these earnings go. It looks like it's going to maybe not be a good report, and boom, the stock just flies higher, goes all the way up into the 326 area after hours, and then just slowly starts to leak down, and now is actually trading down right around 300. 301 is where the last tick is.
Yeah, someone got a little excited there, took it up at 327.69. Boy, would have been nice to have some offers out on that. Since that, you've had a pretty steady sell-off here. Just a little bit in the pre-market. We hit 298.39. Starting to give a little bit of a bounce off that level, finding some minor resistance at 302. I mean, looking at this stock, has had a good run. Since bottoming here, got a nice rally over to 314.99. That's been the high of the recent move. Well, let's keep an eye on yesterday's range for parameters. 311.80 was yesterday's high, closed at 305.01. I tell you, this is a tough one to call.
Ralph Lauren flying here after their earnings report. They reported earnings. I've got it at 231 versus estimates of 219, so nice beat there. It's up over $10 right now. It was actually up after hours last night too. It was trading up 167, 168. You often wonder when these things are trading up $2-3 after hours if somebody knows something. I don't know who's accumulating stock after hours, or maybe they're just shorts that are nervous. I'm not sure, but it was trading up after hours. Then they come out, report a great quarter. Stock goes up another $10, 175.06 the last tick.
Yeah, it must be selling a lot of those little shirts with the horses on it there. 177 has been the high in the pre-market, pulling back to the 175 level. These retailers are crazy. This is blowing away that high that you had at 170. Go a little bit farther out. Here you had a high back on May 4th of last year at 177.76. Also a top just above that. So if it gets back into that 177.5, 178 area. I'd look for that for major resistance. A lot of these times when these stocks have these spike up, when they start to pull back, as you can see, there's not a lot under this 175 level.
But again, just Estee Lauder actually did have follow through like we thought it might yesterday. And again, this is one of those similar retailers, apparel retailers, and a lot of times these stocks do follow through. So sometimes the pullbacks are opportunities to get long again. Time Warner reports this morning, and wow, they really blew it away here too. $1.17 versus $1.10. They're raising the dividend. We know how much this investing world likes it when they raise the dividend. Stock trading up at 51.50 right now, so it's up over $1.50, trading above the recent high of the move, which was 51.29.
Yeah, the high spike in the pre-market here has been at 52.30. We've had a pullback in the pre-market since making that high, just above 51.20 at 51 and a quarter. Holding above that level, I believe this is the highest level the stock has traded at in quite a while. Former high of the move, 51.29. So if you're using that, getting long near the opener, whatever, you dip below that old high at 51.29. You do have some room on the downside.
You want to see a crazy after hours chart? Bring up Hewlett Packard here. Just after hours last night, there was a report that broke from Quartz saying that they might be mulling up, or they're thinking about possibly breaking up the company. Stock on that report from Quartz, and I'm not sure, Quartz, it's not like it's coming from a major
Don't they make
brokerage
watch?
house.
Isn't it a watch or something?
It's an online news service. But anyways, breaking that, just report that they are mulling a breakup, and boom, the stock spikes all the way up to 1840 after the report. It was just crazy. It just took off, and now it pulled back. Hewlett Packard just basically not commenting on this. They asked for comments. Hewlett Packard not commenting at all. So I think this is one of those cases where I don't know how much truth there is behind this, and the stock actually pulling all the way back now to 1702. It is still up 40 cents here, but considerably off those highs that it made after that report broke.
Yeah, I think they're just capitalizing on the buzz that's going on with the Dell private. I mean, they're not capitalizing on it. Actually, other people are speculating what's going to happen.
Yeah, you get one little, somebody just rating something that, maybe Hewlett Packard will do it too, and boom, everybody just, gets all giddy. The market just basically overshoots there. And sure, I mean, it's a possibility, but this isn't coming from the company. This isn't coming from CNBC. This is coming from an online news source, and they were just saying they're mulling it. They're not saying it's, imminent or anything here. And I think once the market sits and digests that, that's why it pulled back significantly from the 1840 overshoot there.
Yeah, look at this. This is a nice pre-market chart here because you did have the spike up to 1840. Obviously, you've come down. Now you have a lot of consolidation around the $17 level, so that could be a good swing number. If you look on the charts, you did have some activity up near the $17 level. You had a high on January 29th at 1692. So I think that 17 is going to act as resistance here. If in fact you can't hold that $17 level and people discount this report, keep an eye on support at the close at 1661.
The Ducks broken wing there, Aflac, wasn't good for the earnings, I guess. We've been seeing those commercials of the Duck with the broken wing. Stock report earnings $1.24 against estimates of $1.48. It's getting beat up here today, trading down actually down 50 cents now at 52.99, but actually offered down at 52.60. So it looks like it's going to open down here towards the bottom of the last range from the last few weeks.
You have a low in the pre-market at 52.40. Not a lot of volume associated
1,000
with this
shares
one.
only.
Yeah, so looking at the up from 51 recently to 54. Now you're already you're trading right at yesterday's low, which was 52.80. If in fact it can hold that level, could sneak back into the 53s. 53.59 was the close. If we don't hold this 52.80, don't have a lot of support in the 52 handle. You do have support at 52.45.
I think below that too. Actually, I'm just looking at it. 52.19. You had a low from the 31st. For whatever reason, we start to cut through 52. Then it starts to open up again too. So I don't see that much support. I think this stock could get interesting here if it continues to pull back. Also reporting earnings this morning, CVS stock trading up 80 cents. They beat buck 14 against estimates of a buck 10. They beat on the top line too, 31.39 billion versus 31.13 billion. Getting a nice lift here, 52.50. But look where it's coming into. You had a high back on the 24th of 52.73, and the day before you had a high of 52.63. So you are approaching some key resistance.
Yeah, looking at the pre-market, you pointed out those levels. You did get a little excited there. Did get up to 52.80. That's the high. We pulled back. I think that 52.80 and those other levels that you mentioned should provide good resistance. Probably some stock at the nice round number of 53 as well. These stocks have been on a nice run here, coming into multi-daily and weekly highs.
Yeah, with Walgreens flying yesterday too off of their same store sales, that really took off and closed near the high too at 41.33. So sector's definitely strong. 3M coming out with a stock repurchase, $7.5 billion share repurchase. They're raising the dividend too, and the stock is getting a lift here in the pre-market. But believe it or not, this stock has started to pull back now. After hours, they announced this. The stock ticked up to 103.5, traded up in the 102 handle quite a bit after hours, but this morning has just been slowly coming back and just ticked down to 101.80, so it's barely up now.
Yeah, 103.52 was the high. I think someone thought that they were immediately repurchasing the stock
Coming
in
in to buy
the
right now.
aftermarkets here. Pull back to 101.80. We're holding here. Looking at the daily chart, look at all these tops you had here at the
102.
101. Yeah, 102 area. That's major resistance. So let's keep an eye on that 102 area. Yesterday's range, the low was 101 and a quarter. So if we sneak below that 101 and a quarter area, look for minor support at 100.58.
It's an interesting setup here, and I would use that 102 as my bogey. You do have some big institutional selling pressure that has been at 102, and that's why you've seen multiple highs for the last 3 or 4 days in the 101.90s as those high freaks lean on that 102 area. I think it's starting to drift down here because you only have had 5,300 shares. Hasn't been really that much volume trade higher here, so I think you're nervous that they might not be able to open it over that 102. If it does take out the 102 in the regular session, then it starts to open up. So I'd use that 102 for my swing number. Obviously, if that holds, might be an area to short off of. If it takes that 102 out, though, it could really fly. So you want to be careful if you are shorting it. If it goes through 102, I would think twice about that short.
Yeah, also you could draw a trend line here, like Mount
Hard,
Everest,
yeah, Mount
going
Everest
up.
trend
So
line.
if you want to if you want to stay on that, it comes in about 101 today. If you're just trying to let the stock run and perhaps sell it on the when it starts to pull back a little bit, looks like that 101 area is where the trend line comes in today. What about Zynga? You're I know you love the what's that? Words with Friends or whatever. They had some decent
The
earnings.
dogs are still barking here. We've been talking about it, and it's barking a little bit this morning. It's up a nickel or a dime now, $2.85. Big volume. 628,000 shares have traded on this puppy. So this stock has been flying here. Did get up over $3, ticked up after the report of earnings there last night. Has pulled back. $3 is huge on this thing. I think it's going to struggle to get above there. You can see, like after hours, you had multiple highs up to 296, 297. So after the initial take through $3, the $3 kind of put a lid on it, and now it's starting to pull back. So not looking that great on the after hours chart.
Yep, that $3 I think is probably a lot of stock kicking around there. The pre-market high was 305. So on the good news, couldn't even hold the $3 level. Looking at the dailies, you had a major resistance at the 285 level. That's currently where we're trading, so we slide below 285. We could slip into yesterday's range. The close 270, 274 should provide some report.
Lots of other ones report. We're not going to have time to go into detail on all of them. CVH, ICE, there's lots of earnings here today. MRO, so check your calendar if you're trading stocks. Panera Bread too, maybe Panera. We should talk about that one. PNRA, because that stock was trading up significantly higher earlier. 175 versus 174. The guidance was pretty decent, so the stock did get a spike after hours when they reported last night. Has pulled back a bit though. It's trading up $4.50 right now at 167.50.
Yeah, 171 topped out in the pre-market there, been pulling back. Since that pullback, was finding support at 168, but we've dipped below that. Nice pop for Panera. Interestingly, you had a high at 168.84 back on December 19th. So looks like they got a little bit overdone in the pre-market. Let's use that 168.84 to 169 as resistance.
Okay, you were talking about your potential trading setup of the year here, Joel, in Apple. Looking at a nice turnaround yesterday. We've kind of put it, we put in a double bottom back at 435 about 7 trading sessions ago. We pulled back, put in a low of 442, and then we put another low of 442, and then we took off yesterday afternoon. Stock flying higher, got up to that 460 resistance area again. Look how thick that 460 area is. If you were saying if the stock could get above there, look out.
Yeah, I haven't seen this for. I've been following Apple for a while and haven't really seen a double bottom followed by another double bottom here. So the 532,
432,
535 area.
432, 435. I'll sell it to you at 535 if you want.
Yeah, at 442. So definitely people are starting to accumulate some stock here. A lot of air if you get above this 460 level. You've had 3 highs right below that 460. This nice round number. Trading down in the pre-market, so that 460. Let's just use that as resistance. If you break above the 460 level, you had the high since the earnings have come out. The high's been 465.73, and if someone likes to fade Whitney Tilson, she has sold her shares.
She has sold her shares. Actually, they did announce that Tilson actually did sell his shares there in Apple yesterday. So interesting enough, I think it was one of his bigger positions, and he's getting bearish it. So I don't know. Zero Hedge was saying maybe it's the low here now that Tilson's sold, but interesting enough though. 460 does look huge to me too, though, and if it does break up above there, you start to get into a little bit of a vacuum area. So beware the short if it starts to trade above 460. Overall market thoughts here as we're starting to run out of time. Obviously, we've talked about this potential channel. We've had the pullback here to the 1500 area once again. We are sitting in the middle of this range. This range has been 1491 to 1510. What do you do here sitting in the middle?
Well, yeah, Kevin pointed out, too, we're back at the 50% retracement here from the last couple days between the 14.90 and a quarter and the 15.11.
Right in the middle.
I think if you're trying to protect things on the long side, I know it's pretty tight, but, still you have to get this market down to 14.90. If it breaks below that area, I think we might finally have the correction that people have been looking for I don't know how many days. Coming back on the upside now that we've really sold off that triple top. Doesn't look like it's going to come into play. If we get a rally back up to the close, 1506, which is the second highest close of the move. You had another close at 1506.50. So I'd be using that, as the first major resistance point, and also the triple top.
I tend to think that there's still a lot of buyers here on the pullback. We've seen that 2 days ago where they heavily bought that 1490, 1491 area again. Then we had the big run up yesterday, and it's kind of like a little breathing, taking a little fresh breath here before I think it makes its next run for those highs again. So I still tend to think that the path of least resistance is higher. It would be interesting if Apple started breaking above 460, because wouldn't it be funny if Apple starts to lead us out of this channel that we've been in here again. Everybody's had Apple for dead, but obviously the 460 level is real interesting in that stock.
Yeah, just talking about the Apple as far as looking looking at it, as an investment here. Maybe it's not quite ready to break out above that 460 level, but you just got to think that if the market does have a major correction here, and the food spoos finally pull back, Apple might not get beat up as bad,
I don't think so.
because yeah. So it's, and a lot of times when I'm thinking of, taking a position, I'll always take into account, what I think about the overall market and the potential of a correction. But I think if you did get a big downdraft, I just don't see. I see Apple hanging in there. So
Yeah.
chance to buy it on a breakout, which is always tough above 460. Or if you're trying to buy it, on the cheap, you have the 442 and the 435
I mean, it
level.
all depends on your time horizon there too. If you're in this market, like if you're a trader, it's one thing. Obviously, you're looking at breakouts, you're looking at different things. If you're an investor and you're just looking to pick your spot on Apple, man, if you're looking at holding Apple for the next 5 to 10 years, I don't really see how you can go wrong in the 460 area. But it all depends on your time horizon. If your time horizon is 2, 3 weeks here, I think you got to wait till it is breaking out. And obviously, because it has been weak, the sentiment is still bad on the stock. But we know when the sentiment turns, it turns quickly. You've seen it like with all those dogs last year, and Apple has become one of the recent dogs. And when the market starts to hate stocks, it's usually when you can start to get interested more on the long side. So that's our show for
Okay,
today. That's our show for today, and we'll be back with you guys tomorrow.